Great to see you today. John Bradshaw here from It Is Written, hoping that your day has started well and that you've got a fantastic day ahead of you. What if today you received catastrophic news? I'm not talking about a death or anything. We want to talk about happier things than that right now, don't we? What if you received frightening news? Imagine this. Imagine you're on your way from work or on your way home from work, and while you were driving in your car, you received news of a missile heading your way. You know that in 2018, I think it was in January, wasn't it? That very thing happened to the people of Hawaii when an alert was issued saying that a missile was on its way and it was going to pound into the island of Oahu. Well, people were terrified. Some stopped their cars and jumped out and ran and hid in culverts and so forth. People phoned home. People raced home. I may never see my loved ones again. This is it. At the time, tensions between the United States and North Korea were somewhat high. So it wasn't, frankly, out of the realms of possibility that something like this would happen. I mean, you'd think the chances of it happening were very, very slim. Why would they do that? But when you receive an official notification from the state saying, this is not a drill, there is a missile on the way, that'd change everything. I wonder how many people gave their lives to Jesus in the 30 minutes or so between the alert and the bulletin that said, forget it, that was all a mistake. I wonder how many people said, if I could do it all again, I'd do it differently. I wonder how many people said, I've been treating my wife or my husband like garbage and I really must change. I need to be present for my children now. I got to spend a little less time in the office. I got to get off my backside and do some of those things that I've said I was, if I get a chance to do it again. Well, thank God they did get a chance to do it again, because it turned out, as you know, that missile alert was erroneous. There was no missile on its way to Hawaii. I imagine somebody had their knuckles wrapped over that. I don't know exactly what happened disciplinarily. Is that a word? Well, it is now, disciplinarily. Imagine getting a fright like that. What would run through your mind? You're thinking to yourself, this is it. Life is over, could be over. Never see my family again. I do things differently. You know something? One day Jesus is going to return to this earth. When he returns to this earth, on that day, it's it. It's over. It'll be too late to do it again. I mean, one day. I went to a funeral recently. The man was much younger than a dead man ought to be. He had years left to live. He doesn't get a chance to do it over again. When Jesus comes back, that's it. We don't get a chance to make it right. Now, I'm not saying this to you to threaten you or have you start your day with a dark cloud hanging over your head. I don't mean that. I mean, wouldn't it be wise for us to think about those realities and understand the fact of the matter is that one day we won't have a chance to do it again. If you've been treating your spouse like garbage, the opportunity to make that right is now. If you've been checking out of your kid's life instead of checking into your kid's life, the time to make that right is right now. If you've been a lousy employee, punching the clock, chewing up your employer's time, robbing them of your wages, now would be the time to say, I need to give them an honest day before I get fired and really ruin things for myself. If you haven't been taking God seriously, now would be the time to do so. Now would be the time to do so. I'll tell you the story. True story. I was on the phone with a gentleman one day. He was a retired pastor. And I said, hey, hate to ask you this because maybe people talk to you about this all the time. Is it true? And he said, yeah, it's true. I heard the smile in his voice down the phone. Yeah, it's true. I said, could you tell me exactly what happened? And so he did, and this is what happened. It was during World War II, and he was flying in a training flight somewhere over the United States. I want to say Colorado, it might have been Idaho. But he was flying in a plane when suddenly, he was up front with the pilot in the cockpit. They hit some kind of pocket of turbulence. He was thrown against the door of the plane. Now I know you're going to listen to me and say that could never happen, but I spoke to the man to whom it happened. So he says it's true. I'm only telling you what he told me. He smacked against the door on the inside of the plane and went out of the cockpit at 20,000 feet. Out he went, except that his bootlace got caught on something inside the cockpit. He is hanging, dangling upside down from an aircraft 20,000 feet above the United States. How in the world do you get this fellow to safety? How does it happen? He's staring down at the earth 20,000 feet below him, and he prays a prayer, as you might expect. And he said, God, if you can somehow get me out of this, I will serve you for the rest of my life. No sooner had he prayed that prayer, here's where it gets really unbelievable. They hit what appeared to be another pocket of turbulence. That door, which had slammed shut, opened again. He was flipped up from his dangling position, sucked right back inside the plane, and the door slammed shut behind him. Now, I know what you're thinking. Nothing like that could happen. Maybe that's true according to the laws of physics. I don't know. That's what he told me happened. And there were people there, obviously, who saw what happened and verified the story. So what did he do? He had that near-death experience. What did he do? Well, when the plane came down and he got out of it and he got his feet on solid ground, he made good on his pledge. And when he left the military, he went to college and studied to become a pastor. And he was an ordained minister and a soul winner and a great preacher of the Word of God. And he became a church leader and a church administrator. This man who fell out of a plane at 20,000 feet and dangled between the heavens and the earth, he had his wake-up call, and it actually woke him up. And he followed God and served God. Now, my earnest hope is that today you don't have an experience that even comes close to that. But I do hope that as you and I both think about certain verses of the Bible, if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. He's coming back. The Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel and with the trump of God. The dead in Christ shall rise first. We which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give to every person according as his or her works shall be. Jesus is coming back soon. How would you be if on the day that Jesus came back, you looked up and you said, you know, I heard about you. I read the Bible some. I went to church several times, maybe a lot. But I'm just not ready because I never took God seriously. How about you take God seriously today? Open up your heart to him. Pray the prayer that says, Lord, be my Lord. Take my heart and make it your heart. Blend my will into conformity to your will. Mix up my thoughts with your thoughts so that I'm thinking your thoughts. One day Jesus is coming back. Today, he gives us the opportunity to take him seriously. Let's take that opportunity today.